I hear the call of the stars.
G'day boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, this is Duckville here. We're going to be having a look at a replay from the C ladder, I believe it is. It's either C or NA, and this is going to be a TvT, a pretty long one as you can probably see from the timeline on YouTube, but this is a very cool game. I did have a quick look at it just to, you know, because TvT can be one of those interesting matchups where it can go for like 64 hours and it will just be just stupid chess positioning of TvT units, and this one was actually pretty cool. But this is between prOxiShroom, as we can see up here in the blue in the top left hand side of Typhon Pigs. He's a player, of course, from Australia who has, you know, I've got a couple of games of him that I believe, one or two I think, that I've put up, and plays a lot with his clan down at some of the local cafes and that sort of thing down here in Melbourne, and yeah, does some really cool things with his plays. His opponent over here is MrCygnus, who's just down here in the red in the totally opposite corner. So as you can see from that particular positioning, that obviously means that it generally will be a little bit of a longer game, especially in a TvT. But yeah, I do apologize, have been a little bit quiet on posting casts and that sort of thing lately. Unfortunately, been a little bit busy with well, not unfortunately, I suppose, it's actually been really cool with doing MLG reps. Of course, we did some casts from MLG Anaheim and also from Raleigh as well, which have all the Anaheim games will be up on my channel. They should be up by now. Make sure you have checked all of those out, because there are some fantastic games, especially the White Ra games. I really love those ones. And of course, there are some Raleigh games which are up at the moment on MLG.tv. You can see them over there, and eventually they will be on my channel as well. If you're, you know, if you're biased and you purely want to watch it on the channel, thank you very much. But yeah, they will be up soon as well. And of course, I am hoping that I will be part of the community casting crew that will be there for the next few MLGs. Of course, Orlando up very soon, and so forth. So we'll see what happens with those sorts of things. I will be striving to do as much as I can for these types of replays where people are sending them in, or I'm grabbing them off Korean sites and that sort of thing, because of course we do a lot of Korean replays here on the channel. But other thing that just quickly I've been working on a little bit was the personal sort of website, duckvillelol.com. Going to be using that as a little bit of a site where you can sort of see what's happening. I'm going to be writing a few blog posts every now and then, a few rage posts, something like that, just of adventures on the Korean server, that sort of thing. But yeah, so make sure you go and check that out. It's still sort of in construction at the moment, but we're getting there slowly but surely, so tune in for that. But just while we're just having a look at what's going on here, MrCygnus putting down a refinery there on top of the gas for prOxiShroom, so it's going to have to get rid of that. Of course, the one cool thing about doing a this mana gas type play from MrCygnus is that you can actually cancel it when it's just about dead, and in fact it does that perhaps a little bit early, but not too much of a problem. Getting a factory here is Shroom, getting that out of the vision of that refinery. That's one good part about doing that, stealing the gas like that, is you can sometimes see some interesting things that your opponent is doing. But as we can see down here, MrCygnus just doing his own thing as well. Looks like we are getting a very quick factory there on the tech lab, I'm going to assume, or perhaps we will see some Banshees, not actually sure just yet. But getting out a tech lab on the racks as well, he's going to be able to pump out a few units and perhaps make sure he is defended. In fact, the Reaper is already out on the map, just chasing after this SCV. SCV may just get away in time. It's sort of dependent on if the Reaper is quick on the draw here, but Shroom is unfortunately not prepared. The supply depot were down, and sort of a sacrifice of that SCV knew that that was going to happen, but it looks as if the Reaper is going to pop up to the shrubbery just up here, but the Marines are going to be well prepared for this, as we can see here. Just going to pop up and bam, there you go, and he is just going to die. There he goes. So exploiting apart is that Reaper. Doesn't actually get too much scouting done, and as we can see here, in fact, Shroom is not actually too much aware of what is happening over here in Cygnus's base as well. In fact, look at this. We actually have double starport here. This could be double starport Banshee, or perhaps a switch into the Iacoic build. I don't actually know the full details of the Iacoic build, but I know you get a lot of Sky units, and it is very cool to see. For those of you who may not be aware, Iacoic is essentially a build where you're looking at playing TvT a little bit like a Zerg plays, where you actually have a lot of ground units, where you have a specific bunch of ground units to deal with the ground, and then you have a lot of Sky units as well. And of course, in the mixture of the Iokoic build is the Banshee and the Vikings, and then a lot of Blue Flame Hellions on the ground. But have a look at what we've got down here. Fusion Core down in the corner for MrCygnus. He is not fooling around at all, going straight for the battle cruisers, and obviously these two starports will be utilized to get a few battle cruisers up and running. And as we can see, we'll have to find out what Shroom is going to do to counter that once he does find out what is going on. He's just getting a missile turret just here. He is aware that there could be some sort of Banshee timing, as we can see. He's well aware that something should have perhaps popped up by now. Does have a tank and a few Marines out the front to defend against anything sneaky that might try and pop through there. The command center, as we can see, is just about to float down to the natural expansion, giving him a little bit of a go-ahead there to get mining. And once he does get those SCVs transferred down, which no doubt will happen in just a second, here they go, transferring all of those SCVs there. In fact, quite a lot of SCVs were transferred down, but he will be a little bit ahead on the economy stakes, especially given that he does have that second orbital command, which will help out with the extra mule, which will go down as well. But as we can see, Cygnus not too far behind, putting down his own command center down here at the natural. So wondering what we're going to see here from these two players. We've got one battle cruiser on the way from Cygnus. He has got, that's actually almost, that's halfway done, in fact more than halfway done. Still waiting to see if the second one comes out. We do have the weapon refit, otherwise known as the Yamato cannon, or the tomato cannon if you want to get funny. And he's actually getting that done now, and I'm just not sure if that's the best solution when you actually are just starting off at the start of the game there. I would have thought that perhaps actually getting a faster second battle cruiser would have been a better idea here, but what he's actually doing is making sure that he will have some control of the sky as well. Getting out 2 Vikings from each of these starports will give him just a little bit more leverage to make sure that this battle cruiser is well protected. And here comes the battle cruiser. He's well prepared, he's operational, got a couple of Hellions in the mix as well. These guys are going to be able to do a little bit of damage to the ground forces. What does Shroom know? He can see the double starport there, put a scan down, can see what is happening here, and we'll see what Cygnus knows about. He knows pretty much nothing. He sees nothing, and he's going to have to contend with these forces out the front of Shroom's base. Getting up two turrets right at the front here. Good work there. Good reactions by Shroom to get those 2 turrets up and make sure that he's well protected against this possible. This could be anything. He obviously doesn't know exactly what is coming, but this could be Banshees. This could be a lot of Vikings somehow to try and do some harassment, or it could be obviously this interesting mix which is coming up now. As we can see, Battlecruiser does a lot of damage, as you can see here by the stats. Now, Shroom knows that it is there. He is going to have to be very careful with how he engages this. Only tanks and Marines here on the ground. The tanks have now sieged up. They're going to be prepared to deal with all of those ground forces there. And it looks as if Cygnus is going to back off. He's just checking if the third base is up and running. And as we can see, there is no third base just yet. We don't even have a third command center just yet from Shroom. So he's not looking to get that early sort of heavy economic boost just yet, but as you can see down here at the third, MrCygnus is getting his own third up and running, and he'll be quite happy to see that there's no third just yet from Shroom. But battle cruisers now coming out 2 at a time. We'll see them popping onto the field shortly. Of course, the battle cruiser, once you get into a certain number, you get to a certain what's it called, that point where it just gets a little bit too much to deal with, and it can be a lot of trouble. But we'll see what Shroom is going to do to counteract that. He's got a couple of starports on the way. Reactors are done here, so he's going to be able to just pump out a lot of Vikings, of course, which is generally what your main counter is to the battle cruisers. Of course, you can use Marines. At times, you can use Ghosts if you're very careful with it, or you want to be a little bit more daring. You can use Ghosts from time to time, but generally you'd want to see a lot of Vikings out to counteract those battle cruisers. They can shoot a bit further than the battle cruisers can, and of course they're a little bit more mobile as well, especially if you've got some good micro. You can use the Vikings out of range of the battle cruisers, and then you can actually just sort of pull them back out of the danger zone. But as you can see, 3 battle cruisers out here and operational for MrCygnus. He's now just switching this command center into an orbital. He's going to have 3 orbital commands, which is really going to give him a nice boost to his mineral income, assuming that he is going to use it for that. Perhaps he could use it for a bit of scouting, but it looks as if Shroom is going to come down here. He's got a bit of a force here. It's not a huge force, but he definitely will be able to deal with some of these units here that Cygnus has. There's no SCVs to repair the battle cruisers, and in fact, the battle cruisers have just absolutely obliterated all of those Marines on the ground. The tanks have said, I don't care, I'm just going to go into that base anyway, laying siege to that orbital command, making that lift up, but the battle cruisers will have their day here, and they will take out the rest of those tanks on the ground. Unfortunately, the SCVs just ran into the corner there. A couple of these Marauders just taking shots at all of those and just whittling all of those away. Stimming up again. The battlecruisers have disposed of the last of those siege tanks there, and they are coming across to finish up the rest of these Marauders, and they will be able to just clean up those. And the ACV's helping out a bit there as well. They could have done that a little bit earlier. There probably would have been a little bit less damage. But what has that done? That is actually, of course, that's left the supply stakes at 88 for Shroom and 79 for Cygnus. He did lose, I believe, was it one battlecruiser? No, he didn't actually lose any of the battlecruisers. Brilliant micro there by Cygnus to make sure that the Vikings were dealt with by his own Vikings here. And as we can see, Shroom is just starting to move into that heavy Viking production. We've got 4 on the way at a time. He's got an extra racks here, just pumping out a lot of Marines, and I would say he's probably going to look to get a lot of Marines just on the ground as well. Considering that this is just a very heavy air presence, there isn't really too much on the ground for Cygnus. So he's got 4 starports up at the moment. We've got 3 with Tech Labs, 1 with a reactor, and of course the weapon refit done will enable him to actually use the battlecruiser's Yamato cannon to actually take down tanks a little bit quicker, and of course it'll help with if any Thors come onto the battlefield. But as you can see, Shroom is just going really hardcore on those Vikings at the moment. We've still got them coming out 4 at a time, in fact 3 right now, but he's just sort of looking to do a sort of Marine Viking based counter to these battlecruisers up in the sky. 4th base is up and running here for Cygnus down at the 6 o'clock position. It could be in a little bit of trouble now because it looks as if Shroom is well aware that this is there, and he is indeed. A scan went down, it looks like, and he was able to spot that that base is now up and running. He's going to have to drop these Vikings down to take care of that as fast as possible, and he is going to just drop them down there. There they go, and they are going to do a little bit of damage to that orbital command. It looks as if it will be taken out, and there it goes. So a couple of SCVs are going to have to turn around and head home because they're not going to get anything done at that expansion. And as we can see here, the forces of Cygnus actually looking a little bit not as huge as they could be, but as I say that, 2 extra battlecruisers come onto the field, just sort of waiting to see what Cygnus is going to do with his upgrades here. If he can grab a couple of these, a couple of the air upgrades, that would actually really help him out there to enable the battlecruisers to do a little bit more damage, of course, to the Marines on the ground, and then also to the Vikings up in the sky as well. And as you can see, we've got 4 Vikings up in the sky at the moment. We've got a few on the ground as well. They're going to try and do as much damage to that command center as they can before the rest of the forces come in. Vikings taking care of Vikings, and battlecruisers now as well doing a lot of damage. As we can see, the Marines are getting absolutely slaughtered on the ground there. They have been just easily disposed of by those battlecruisers just with their heavy damage, as we can see. And there they go, getting rid of the rest of the anti-air forces, leaving those battlecruisers free to clean up the tank and the Marines, as Marauders, sorry, left on the ground. But again, it just sort of seems as if Shroom is just staying a little bit ahead here. He's got good production, of course. He's got these various production facilities in the base. He's got a couple of racks just really going hard on those Marines. We can see a few of them queued up. He's got Vikings as well, which are on the way, and as we can see up here, he actually has the 3rd base up at the 12 o'clock up and running, and a lot of SCVs just mining away here. If we have a quick look at the Harvester tab, we can see the Shroom is currently up at 65 SCVs to the measly 43 of Cygnus. Cygnus quite far behind here at the moment. He does have those extra orbital commands, as we can see, but Shroom is probably about to just jump ahead here. Once he gets his 4th command center up and running, we'll probably see that switch into an orbital command, maybe a planetary fortress if he wants some defense, but I would think that he wouldn't be too worried about these forces just moving out at the moment. As he comes in with those various attacks, he's doing a lot of damage to the battlecruisers, forcing them to stay at home. And that obviously means that Cygnus cannot get around the map. And what Cygnus is probably looking for is that that sort of point where those the battlecruisers just become too much of a problem to deal with, and I don't know if he's going to get that, if he's just going to be sitting on 3 bases at the moment, trying to get the 4th up down here at the 6 o'clock again. We'll see if he is successful in getting that up and running. I just feel as if that's quite a bit dangerous, especially given how slow the battlecruisers are at getting around the field here. And they do have their +1 to their air damage weapons, of course. They've got their ATA laser battery and the ATS laser battery, for those of you playing at home, air to surface and air to air. And they do a lot of damage, of course, but we'll see if he is able to keep up with the production power of Shroom. As we can see here, a lot of Vikings now on the field. We've currently got 16 here for Shroom. He's got still more popping out of these starports here. More barracks have been plonked down as well. He's got reactors all over the place here. It's a reactor party. There are going to be Marines all over the place in just a minute. We've got 33 on the ground at the moment for Shroom, and these guys are going to have to contend with this big force that is moving out on the map at the moment here. We've currently got 7 battlecruisers in the mix. We're just waiting for a couple more to pop out of the starports. We've got +1 to Terran plating. That's the air-based plating here for these units, and they will of course help out with stopping the damage of those Marines. And what he's just doing here, as we can see, is just sending these units out to the middle, controlling the middle point here. He can see a little bit of what is going on. We just saw a scan, and he knows that the forces of Shroom are now probably trying to push into the middle here. These Vikings now moving into position. They're going to be a lot of damage once they actually open up and fire down a salvo at some of these air units, and we'll probably see a battle in just a second here. Shroom just trying to decide what exactly he's going to do. Interestingly, the combo of Cygnus does not allow him to take that Zolnaga watchtower, so he can't actually control the middle, and Shroom has actually been able to slip by, doing a little bit of a ninja strat here, just walking past. The Vikings are just scouting ahead. As we can see here, these guys are well in the mix, and the Marine forces are now just moving inside. They're going to snipe out that engineering bay. Easy pickings there, and also probably going to get this orbital command as well, but the battle cruisers are now trying to move in, staying in a little bit of a formation there with the Vikings at the back. Not sure if that's the best idea, but these extra battle cruisers now coming in for the side. A stim goes off, and a lot of damage being done here by the Marines on the ground. They have taken out 1, 2, 3 of the battle cruisers, in fact, targeting down beautifully there by Shroom. He is going to lose a lot of these forces, but he has cut down so many of those battle cruisers from Cygnus, and that is just a huge detriment to his forces there. As we can see, Cygnus still in the lead with his supply just at the moment, but he has lost so many of those battle cruisers. We're up at around about 9, I think maybe 10 battle cruisers at that time when that battle occurred, and now he is down to a very simple number as only 4 battle cruisers are left over, and he is trying to rebuild this base. That's just how Shroom is playing out this game at the moment. As you can see, the 4th up and running with a planetary, got a couple of turrets there for some defense as well, and chucking down an extra 3 racks. So we'll see him just really start ramping up, starting to power out a lot of these Marines. It looks as if he is sticking with. We've got a total of 14 Marines on the way for Shroom, and with their they do have +2 to their weapons at the moment, +3 is being researched as well. We're not getting any armor at the moment here. He doesn't have an extra engineering bay, but he does already have +1. Helps him out a little bit, but not too much against those battle cruisers, given the massive amount of damage that they do. But we'll see what he's going to do here. He will have to engage here in the middle. A couple of these Marines just off to the side, not actually aware that they are right in the firing line of one of these battle cruisers, actually walking in there, and they are going to go down. I would say this battle cruiser not really doing too much damage, but an extra force of Marines coming from the side. A scan going off to make sure he can see everything that is in the mix there. The Vikings now landing on the ground. Stim is still being used here by these Marines, and they are doing a whole heap of damage, taking out 2 of the battle cruisers. We've got an extra 3 now just moving in. Nice little bit of micro there from Cygnus to keep that battle cruiser out of danger there, cleaning up the rest of these Marines. But again, just sort of a little bit of a problem here for Cygnus, that he's losing all of these battle cruisers. Really has nothing on the ground. I really feel as if some Hellions thrown into this mix would really complement the battle cruisers there, just able to burn off all of those Marines. As you can see here, a massive conga line of Marines just streaming into the middle of the map. In fact, SCVs are on the way as well. I think they're transferring to the base down here at the 7 o'clock position. These guys are going to be powering up this base as well. As we can see, more racks being built by Shroom. He is sticking with this Marine heavy combo as long as he can. As I said, as long as no Hellions are out on the field, there is really no danger in using those just the mass Marines. And as we can see, more battle cruisers are coming out. No expenditure being used on Hellions or anything to that effect. In fact, a tank coming out here, probably going to use this for a bit of static defense at the bases here. He really does need it, given how naked these bases are. No planetary up and running here at the moment here. We do have one just over on the 6 o'clock base, so this is sort of okay for the moment. Of course, the planetary does not mean that your base is fully protected and will survive till the end of time along with the cockroaches, but it does mean it buys you a bit of time to get some forces across. And speaking of buying time, look at this. We have these Marines just running in here, waltzing in with no contenders trying to stop them from doing any damage. little bit of micro there from Shroom. He's got the battle cruisers up to the side, trying to push in here. They are going to defend the command center. It will stay alive for the moment. 2 tanks off to the side, trying to use the tanks, trying to pull those Marines in range of the tanks, but it looks as if that is not going to be enough given how slow those battle cruisers are. The Marines now forming a beautiful little arc there. You'd be happy about that if you're on play school. That'd be in those windows, but there go those Marines just disposing of that planetary fortress as easy as pie, and more Marines are still streaming into the middle of the map here for Shroom. He's doing a great job with that macro. In fact, as I say that, he's sort of stopped off on the macro a little bit there, but pretty much the damage is done. Actually, that's because he's supply capped, you fool, Duckville. And just sort of sitting here with these 1-3 Marines, going to be doing a lot of damage. They do have that massive DPS when they have that +3 to their weapons. Now scanning in, sees the battle cruisers out of position here, just off to the side of the cliff, targeting down one of the battle cruisers, now trying to target down the others as well. I feel as if this could be a little bit of an unfortunate position there for Shroom, actually not noticing the tanks down there on the ground. They were covered up by the battle cruisers. Maybe that's the tactic of Cygnus. He's going to use tanks on the ground to deal all the damage to those Marines, and then just have the battle cruisers float overhead so you can't see them. That would be a crazy strategy. I think we've seen that sort of thing with Overlords before. But now Cygnus sitting in a very terrible position at the moment, has no mining left in the main. The natural is just about done. The third base here is now finally up and running again. A little bit slow to get that one done, but the fourth is the key thing here. He has no fourth at the moment, so essentially it's sort of 1.5 base mining at the moment, of course, not to mention having to use these command centers as planetary fortresses instead of orbitals means he's actually just a little bit down on the orbital commands at the moment here. 8 racks going up for Shroom here, putting down some tech labs as well. He's going to have massive production. If he loses like 200 supply, he could probably just ramp that straight back up in no time at all. And in fact, look at this, queuing up Vikings till the cows come home, and the battle cruisers have decided that they're going to try and do something across the map. They have finally spotted that this fourth base is up and running here. I just feel as if there's just a bad sort of mixture here from Cygnus. He's trying to do the best he can with these battle cruisers, but with those massive amounts of Marines on the ground, there is just not enough defense from a ground position there. Despite the huge damage that these battle cruisers do, there's just not enough of them to deal with the 23 billion Marines that are now down on the ground. Let's have a look at how many exactly there are. 91 Marines on the ground at the moment for Shroom. He's going to be doing a heap of damage. Now coming up to the 12 o'clock base, trying to take out this one as fast as he can. Marines now off to the side. They're going to do a lot of damage. These battle cruisers are just a tiny bit out of position here, just not off to the side of the cliff, trying to move out now. They will go down. Battle cruisers are falling down all over the place. Only 2 left, along with the 9 Vikings that he also has. Now trying to take out the rocks so he can move into position here and take out the rest of the battle cruisers. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. The battle cruisers and the Vikings now floating away for the moment there, but it looks as if essentially the damage has been done. Shroom doing a fantastic job, just switching into the Marines. Not really afraid, of course, because there are no Hellions on the ground. Not really too many tanks doing much damage either. And now the possibly the final attack here from Cygnus, trying to push into this fourth base, doing a little bit of damage. The planetary will easily dispatch with those Vikings, and now he is going to have no way to defend these battle cruisers. And in fact, the battle cruisers have had their day. They're just sitting up here having lunch, and they're just going to hang out over the top of these beautiful little crystals on the ground. But trying to macro up again is Cygnus. He's got a little bit more protection at his bases this time. A couple of tanks here at the third base, but the fifth over here and the fourth are easily exposed. There is no way this planetary is going to hold up this particular base. Now going to drop down these Vikings on top of this base. This is not going to get up and running, I can tell you what. There we go. Cancels that. Marines now moving in. We're currently sitting at 94 Marines. That is actually just about as many as he has in SCV, so that's quite hilarious. But 4 battle cruisers out on the field for Cygnus, and he's going to have no way of defending this attack. The +3 to armor is just about done, and here come the Marines, possibly for the final push. Really want to see some dancing, splitting up those Marines there. A little bit of a cute maneuver there, but he is going to take this planetary down, and there we go. That is it, and there is the GG. So great work there by Shroom to just stay on top of his just that sort of, well, I suppose it's a mixture if you think about it, but really just mostly Marines there, given that we had Cygnus just powering out those battle cruisers as much as he could. Had a lot of Vikings as well, possibly expecting a lot more Vikings from Shroom as well, but just not enough on the ground to defend against those Marines. And as we can see, despite the power of these battle cruisers, these guys were just left off to the side at the end of the day. So hope you guys enjoyed that particular game at TvT, which we probably haven't done for a while. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, DuckvilleLol. Jump onto the website, duckvillelol.com, and yeah, you can catch me streaming from time to time on twitch.tv/duckvillelol as well. Hope you enjoyed that one. Cheers.